John Rublieri. I own property on 83rd Street in Raritan, New Jersey here.
Just give your address though.
Excuse me?
Give your address though.
I live at 34 Bones Lane.
Okay. Thanks, John.
I was here last week. I was at the planning board meeting, as you all know. Property that I own on 3rd Street is in the redevelopment zone. It's going to be, I guess there's a study that's going to be made by the planning board. And as a result of that, I guess we'll have to get some input as to whether or not it's going to be considered a redevelopment zone or not. And at that point, we can go on to condemnation. But it was interesting, the other day I was looking through some old pictures, and I'll share the story with you. My mother-in-law lived in Poland. There's a certain section of Poland where a guy called Stalin one day showed up and said, you know what, I think that I need this property. And if they didn't agree, they got the axe. A short time later, the Nazis show up. They said it's something a little bit different. We don't want you to be here. We want to take you over to a camp. They stayed there for 4 years. After the war, the Americans came in and liberated these people that were on the farm sector. And they said, well, you know, we really can't go back to Poland because the Russians were there already, and they prefer that you not return. So they end up in the United States. They come to the United States. 80 years later, now they were told that they couldn't go back. Is really what they were told. 8 years later, their son-in-law and their son faces the same sort of situation, not so much with a gun, but with a piece of paper that says, legally, I can take your property for the betterment of the society, for the betterment of this town. I think that's wrong. I think what they're doing is they're really stretching the purpose of eminent domain by taking my property so that the whole benefit of the township, for whatever reason, would be. Think about that in terms of where you live. If someday somebody knocked on your door and said, you know what, I need not only your property, I need the property behind you, and I'm going to take it because I'm just a developer, and I want to be able to make some money. Township's going to make some money. Everybody seems to be making money in this project, with the exception of the people who don't want to move. There was no reason for us to sell this property. Give it up, condemn it, whatever you want to call it. We never intended to sell it. I want to bring that to the table again. We never intended to sell it. It was never our intention. We were going to keep it for a long term. I was going to live there. My son lived there before. It wasn't something that we wanted to do. Think about what if you were being approached by that same contractor, and he said to you, I need your property, and I have a piece of paper that says that I can take it legally. That's worse than getting shot, because now you can go past that property over and over again. You say, that's where my house used to be. I understand that there's a study being, I guess the planning board already appointed somebody to do a study, is that correct? Redevelopment?
Yes, they hired someone at their last meeting to conduct a study of that parcel to see if it in fact it complied with the New Jersey statute for redevelopment.
Do you know who that person is, or that group?
Paul Greigel, but I don't know the name of the company, do you?
Phillips Priest
I'm sorry.
Greigel.
And what's his time frame?
Priest Greigel.
That, I don't know. Do you know what the time frame is for his analysis?
Didn't give us the time frame. I would say 3 months. At least that makes sense.
Well, more than 30 days, but probably 3 months on the outside.
Okay.
It would be my guess.
The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention, and I was a little confused about this, but I did a little bit studying on it. What the difference between a pilot program, which is what the developer had presented the first evening that he was here, this whole program, versus a tax abatement. The study that I did, well, I did some research, and it seems to me that in order to benefit from a pilot program, it's actually in the section of HUD where low-income people are supposed to live in this specific location. Is that true?
No.
No.
No, the pilot just means payment in lieu of taxes, right? So that's kind of used as the common vernacular for describing what is actually a tax abatement. So under the
So they're
local,
the same, tax abatement and pilot are the same?
right, because under the local redevelopment and housing law, you have the ability, the council has the ability to award a 30-year or a long-term tax abatement, all right? And that's in the vernacular referred to as a pilot, because they're paying the taxes based upon the land value, but they're not paying taxes based upon the improvements. And what they're paying based upon the improvements is worked out between the council and the developer, if indeed that is ever consummated, if the council wants to go forward with that. So it's called a pilot just for ease of reference, but it's really a long-term, I'm sorry.
5 minutes, I just want to say however much time you have.
But it's a long-term tax abatement is what it is. So it's 30 years, it can't be any longer than 35 years from the date of it's 30 years or 35 years from the date of execution of the agreement. The abatement period itself is 30 years.
John, could you wrap it up in 30 seconds, please?
That's it, John.
Oh,
I just wanted to bring that to your attention again, and I'm very disappointed that council went ahead and condemned my property. No matter how you look at it, the long and the short is that's what's exactly what's gonna happen. We're gonna end up facing each other at some point in time. And you're gonna say, hey, listen, John, you know what? We condemn your property, and we need it now,
Thank you.
so we can go forward.
Okay.
Well, to be clear though, you're not living in that property, that's rental property at this point, right?
Well,
Just
I don't think-
so
I really-
everybody understands.
I really don't think that should be an issue. Whether I
Okay,
live
just a
there-
clarification, that's all, it's not an issue.
I do not live there at the present time.
well, okay. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay.